Hey, Joe Gilder here from Home Studio Corner. I want to talk about dealing with importing files into your session, specifically stereo files. It's not quite as easy as it might be in other systems. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's a song I think I used in a previous video. Recorded some guitars and vocals, kind of scratch guitar vocals to a drum loop, and then took it to my drummer and we tracked drums. And so here, over here in the browser window over here, is the file. So first thing I will say is while 90% of the time I spend my time in actual Finder here, or whatever window you use on Windows to look at your files, Studio One actually makes it fairly easy. And there's a couple of reasons why I would encourage you to use this window over here. So how do you get here? You press something like F7 or just click Browse, and then it may default to here. Just come over to Files, and it's basically just a file browser. Okay, so I found on my desktop the folder with the drum files for this song. Now what you might notice if I zoom in, we've got two overheads. So he just recorded everything in mono. So a left and a right mono room, separate tracks for left and right mono room, separate tracks for left and right overhead. So the problem with that is if I import these in, here's what happens. It becomes two mono files, right? It's exactly what you'd expect. The problem, now, it's not necessarily a problem. You can work this way, but I like to have one fader for my overheads, right? As it is right here, I'd have to pan them both and then route them to a bus called overheads to use one fader and one set of plugins on there. I'd rather not have to do that extra work. I'd rather just have a stereo file. So the way to handle that is to, before you import them, look them up here in the Files browser section and select the two that you want to merge into a stereo file. So in this case, it's these. And I select them, I right click, and I click on Merge to Stereo File. Boom, it creates one called Overhead. Now, in this example, the top one I believe needs to be the left channel. So for me, I want the hi-hat to be on the left and the ride on the right. So that works perfectly. And if you sort them here alphabetically, which is what I have, or I think what it defaults to, then overhead left will come before overhead right if that's how you have it labeled. For example, here, room, I'm not sure what the F means, but room left, room right. They're in the right order. The top one's left, bottom one's right. I right click and I merge two stereo files. Now, when I'm ready to import all of these into my session, I select them all, and then I just hold down Command and click these two and these two, because I don't need those to be imported now. I've combined them into a new stereo file. So I can select all of these, drag them into my session, and check it out. Here's my overhead, and here's my room. They have been nicely joined together in holy matrimony of stereo. And now I'm good to go. I have less issues to worry about. And that took all of, a minute to do? In the past, I would I think in previous versions of Studio One, you'd have to name these .L and .R for Studio One to even recognize them. Now you just literally have to have them selected, and it's gonna, I think you can even go, if I wanted to create a stereo track out of my kick drums, I think I probably could. Maybe that's a new creative option to try, but I'm not going to try it. You can try it. That's totally fine. So that's it for this video. If you've ever had to deal with importing two left and right files and figuring out ways to route them so you don't have to, you can treat them as a stereo file, now you don't have to. I'm Joe from homestudiocorner.com/PreSonus. Head over there to find more free Studio One videos. Thanks.